So hello everybody, my name is Theresa Imre and I'm going to present you the startup I've been working on for the last 3 years now. Markta is a virtual farmers market, a digital marketplace for small-scale producers. And Markta, in this, I would say, in this talk I'm having today, has a little bit the bridge between the first talk of showing the potentialities you can do with blockchain in terms of how to link that with sustainable development goals and specifically. And on the other side, of course, a direct application. And let me bring you into the world of food that I'm talking about. Why it all matters. Over the last 40 years, our global food networks and structures have changed dramatically. That's actually true because of globalization. There's lots of products being shipped from A to C and B. And the other part, of course, is also the industrial manufacturing. So we're in a current situation in terms of power structures in Austria. There's 162,000 farmers and family farms in Austria, which was actually double the number when I was born. But that's the current amount we have. And there's 3 supermarkets that take up to 86% of what people are eating all the time. So that actually means that does it really work? Yeah, now it works. Sorry, I hear myself a little bit doubled. So why this is dramatic is that the structure is very centralized. There are a few companies determining the quality, the amounts, and also how different farmers are being treated and how also they are being worshipped in terms of their monetary contribution. If we're looking at the numbers precisely, each year 2,300 Austrian family farms actually have to close down because only the big ones survive. The EU funds, especially the Common Agricultural Policy, usually is distributed by the amounts of hectares a farm owns, which means the large ones benefit even more and the small ones suffer. In terms of monetary compensation, with a kilo of apples, there's usually about 20 cents going back to a family farm. So, what are we doing different? Let me serve you Markta. We're trying to open this bottleneck of decentral structures and actually create a more democratized digital marketplace with decentral logistic structures. So instead of just having 3 players determine how we are trading in that sense, we believe in a very strong network of farmers, and here the blockchain and different applications in that sense can help us to provide to guarantee certain quality standards, certain trading standards, and the way how we perceive that it's necessary to trade. So why is Markta more sustainable? We worked now for 3 years on a digital platform where currently there are already 350 local producers listing their products on a self-determined matter. That was also very important to see how can you give this power back to the individual family farms and small-scale producers of food. So we agreed upon a fixed margin, so that it's actually a provision-based business model on the one hand, but we're working on more intense logistic structures in terms of fulfillment as we speak. Currently, we're starting to rebuild our offices in the sense that we have a 800 square meter floor now where we do the first fulfillment and commissioning of fresh food for Vienna. Where we see where it works very much, especially if you want to talk about decentral structures, is you gotta have to integrate those local touch points. If we're talking about food and changing consumer behavior, it helps very much that people can actually interact directly with the producers, talk with them, understand what is being different than the normal classical production methods, I would say, in terms of conventional food production. And on the other hand, it's also, of course, important not to only understand the needs and behaviors of the producers, but also to understand the new demands of urban consumers. That's specifically where we see the big gap, that you have the rural production, people knowing how and what to produce, and on the other side, there's this urban demand, and we see ourselves bridging those 2 gaps. So what have we done until now? We grew Markta actually having the prototype in 2016 and 17, launched just a year ago and now have 350 producers on board. The next phases will definitely be more logistic-wise roll-up, where we want to have decentral structures within the clusters where the producers sit. We're calling that a cross-docking situation, where producers deliver to one cross-dock and then we deliver that to our fulfillment center in Vienna in order to supply the city in the most efficient way. Along that, for us, very important, the SDGs, especially where we can relate certain incentivizing to consumer behavior in the way that we have token systems integrated. So these are a little bit the next steps of where we position ourselves, also in terms of being very dynamic, but definitely always focusing on this local small-scale production. This is a little bit how we roll it out. The next phases where we're currently talking about is this fulfillment center we're doing, and of course the best channels can also be if you bundle those small amounts of goods that basically the farmers can supply, and then actually be able to have larger quantities in order to supply schools, organizations, businesses, or employee programs. So this is a little bit the logistic I was talking about, and this will definitely be the next step of our startup phase. We see ourselves as a European network standing for local and small-scale sustainable food solutions, and we want to integrate all the different players so this can actually foster much more in terms of market structures. Yes, this is a little bit of a team setup, but I think I'll close now and then look forward to the discussion which will come afterwards in the panel discussion. Thank you.